like that, but like
I've been.
It's the same case without DNA.
Agreed. It's not the same case without the DNA, but I'll tell you two things that are really important in this case.
Hang on.
And that is the planning document.
I've been talking about LISK for a while. I've been reading this Murder Inc. article. This Murder Inc. article isn't this is their theory, how it's come together, what's going on in Long Island and New York, that connection with trafficking and James Burke. It just gives me chills. I mean, a police chief was reportedly seen with Epstein at Okia Castle Bar in Huntington. Now I'm going to continue playing what John Ray, I don't know what that is, but what John Ray was saying. I don't know John Ray, I don't know what his aim game is, I don't know. I'm not going to be 100% trusting people on the Shannon Gilbert thing, because it still hasn't settled to this day. And that's why I'm looking into the Shannon Gilbert case, because in all, his sister deserves compensation for how this investigation has affected her family. Her mother was killed by her daughter. Her daughter felt like she was sort of responsible because she couldn't help Shannon's case. Schizophrenia is a serious illness. What we also know is that the girl with the serious illness, Shannon's sister, was spoken to by Hackett and told her that he ran a home for wayward girls. That's enough to push anyone over the edge, mind you. And having people sign documents on the day of funerals like John Ray has isn't good, so I'm wondering what the game is, because it just seems like Nathan's blocked me. LISK have done that sort of thing. They don't understand that I'm needing documentation now that they've come across, that they've talked about. I don't feel that Rex Heuermann was connected to Shannon. So I need to find out what happened, what was the allegations, what was said. So I read the court motions instead of reading John Ray's stuff the last time. And the court motions mentioned that they've waited 4 times, made arrangements 4 times, and nobody's turned up to the court. It's still ongoing, they're still waiting. I'm not sure where we are with that, and I find it pretty odd that Nathan is talking about the Murder Inc. or getting his info from Murder Inc., but not mentioning Burke that much. Shannon, what started it all, okay, and these people who are higher ups, that connection to Burke's got a connection to Epstein. Also, a bit of what John Ray said, if you look at Ella Steve, she looks like she's been smoking crack all her life. And if you look at humans, a little bit like that as well. So, it's very hard to know if someone's a crack addict, by the way. And I've been looking into it, you see. And I've been watching, I'll give her a shout out because I think she deserves it. Because there's very few on here who want the truth. Very few. And there's a lot on here with big numbers who are trying to tell you a different story, right? Okay. this lady
And here's the
called...
article. I'll let you listen to the
The
article.
Trump administration's move to revive the federal death penalty could affect the local case against strip.
I might be able to put something on of hers. Okay, because I really feel it's important that we listen to the people who have connections with Shannon. And
filled them all up with concrete, but a lot of the deepest tunnels are over 12,000 years old. There is more to gain from the
I'm not being rude. I have no idea how Shannon spells anymore, because so many people spell so different.
Magic and monsters, wondering when and where they will come from. They were under your feet the whole time. You thought being a paladin or a warrior of light would mean confronting people, face to face, and it does mean that. It also means climbing into something
why would Nathan block me?
Fight demons in the dark. The human horrors are bad enough. The scene in the movie The Road, where they find the people...
Because the allegations are sad, they're true.
That's what some of these tunnels are like. There may have been a large gallery with a
maybe he should keep off the alcohol and not go online.
For an air tunnel that's 1,000 feet long and only 10 inches by 10 inches.
And here's the article. I'll let you listen to the
The
article.
Trump administration's move to revive the federal death penalty could affect the local case against strip club owner Peter Geraci Jr. and 3 others whom prosecutors allege played a role in the death of federal witness Crystal Quinn.
She says something very vital about John Ray, and I'm not sure if it's true, if it's not. I'm here to give you information so you can make your mind up, guys. You know me. It's only a short video, 10-minute video.
Videos on here called Murder of Mary Gilbert on investigative discovery from October 2020. It's all about Mary being killed and Cherie screaming. And then I put Nathan Adams' podcast of lies, where he does a podcast on Mary's death and Cherie screaming. So that was on the 23rd of July. Well, this is what Lori has to say that Fran did to Cherie on the day of Mary's funeral a couple days later.
You have copies of everything you signed with John Ray. You know, neither girl has copies of anything they signed with John Ray. And I said to them, that's illegal that he has you sign anything. At the day of the memorial service, I don't know if you know this, the day of the memorial service that I was there for, and I'm at the house with Cherie at her place with the boys, she and Frances, or whatever her name is, was John Ray, calls Cherie and says, I need you and Stevie, I need to meet with you today and you need to sign paperwork for whatever. Well, Cherie didn't really want to tell me about the paperwork, whatever it was. I don't know, and I said, you mean it's Mary's memorial? Yes, now check this out, I gotta tell you this. Yes, the day of the memorial, Frances calls me, they know it's the memorial service day, and I'm there with, okay, so in the morning, Frances calls Cherie and says, I need to meet with you and Stevie today. You need to come to my office in Long Island today. And I'm right there. So check this out. I'm right there beside Cherie on the couch. She and I with the boys. And Cherie's talking. And she says, Aunt Lori, you're going to have to babysit the boys because Frances says I need to drive. I said, how long of a drive is that from here? 3 hours. What is it? About 3 hours. Yeah, so she's not busted while she's on the phone. And she's talking to Frances and she shows me. I said, Cherie, tonight's memorial, whatever time it was now, I forget. 2, 3, 4 o'clock. 5 o'clock, I think, was a memorial service. So I said to Cherie, I said, well, holy cow, she was thinking that you're not.
She nearly missed her mum's memorial service, driving 3 hours there, 3 hours back to Long Island to sign paperwork for Shannon's case. Now, what was she signing? Was she signing over to herself, the case, the filing? Who knows? She didn't know what she was signing.
What's so important that Frances thinks you and Stevie need to rush there today to sign paperwork for? Well, Cherie never told me. She never told me. She kind of him-hawed around about it, and I thought, well, maybe she feels like it's none of my... So she hangs up, and she says, you're just going to have to go. We have to get hold of Stevie. I said, Nick,
maybe, right, Marie wasn't going to sign something. I mean, at the end of the day, he was poor boning, and he sent this woman a £400 bill.
Don't care. So she goes, oh, yeah, you're probably right. I'll call her and tell her she needs to go here. Do you think she'll come here? She did go there. I saw her there the first time, and you did too. That's why. So Cherie, oh my God, that's disgusting. Yeah, so Cherie calls her back and says, I was just talking to my Aunt Lori, and there's just no way I can, I don't even know where Stevie is right now. I have to get a hold, I don't even know. There's no way we could get there and sign your paperwork. And Francis says on the other end of the phone, it'll only take 15 minutes to sign the paperwork. And I'm talking on the back, so I'm saying to Cherie, that's not the point. That is one point, but that is really callous. That was exceptionally callous. So that's the reason she came to the memorial service. So okay, so then she says to Cherie, well then I'll tell you, I understand. Lori, you are totally pissing me off. Well, that's how I am, and that's how I was at the time. So she says to Cherie, they are stringline buckets. Yes, so check this out. So she's like, so Cherie goes, well, I'm saying, this is not a good day to be signing paperwork. No. So I'm saying that, I said, you don't even know what you're signing. What's the...
Okay, so Fran, this is Aunt Lori right here that's on the phone, and of course that's Shannon. So Fran tells Cherie, tell your Aunt Lori I only need you for 15 minutes. Mind you, it's a 3-hour drive one way, 6-hour drive each way. It's the worst day of her life. She was crying all throughout the funeral. I went to the funeral. Nathan did not go to the funeral. Raoul did not go to the funeral. Michelle Cutner did not go to the funeral. John Ray did not go to the funeral. I went to Mary's funeral. I was invited. So on August 12, 2016, about 3 weeks after Mary died, John Ray is being interviewed by Mary Murphy. And I said, why are you smirking when Mary Murphy asks you questions? And John says, Susie, are you referring to me? If so, that's how my face looks when I speak. It's always a smirk. It's not a smirk. Why would you say this, idiot? So then I find out, years later, I got the Southern District of New York feds on the case. And when I told John that I had the Southern District on the case to go after to work on Shannon's case, get justice for her, he immediately sent me a check for $400 because I had sent him money back in 2012 to start a foundation for Shannon, and I paid the court fees. And he never started the foundation for Shannon. He kept the court fees, and then he lied to me.
He's never ever went to court over Shannon. He's only done all the depositions, done all the work. But at some point, I don't know who's involved with Shannon's court case now, but it doesn't seem like John Ray's there doing anything, you know? He's going out all out for Rex, like.
But I didn't fight with him because he's a liar, and I know that what I did. So as soon as John knew that I had the feds on the case from Southern District, he immediately cut me a check for $400. So I called Aunt Lori.
So what he did, he charged the $400, this is the impression I'm getting, and then he cut the $400 back.
And I told her, I said, you know, your lawyer is really a scumbag. You really, really need to get rid of this guy. He has stolen money from your account. He didn't do the work. He took money from me and he didn't do the work. You don't want a lawyer like that on the case. And that's how I found out that Fran commanded Cherie to go to Long Island to sign legal papers on the day of her mother's funeral. So this is the email that I sent them on February 9th, 2018. Fran Cotra and John Ray, the two of you are the absolute lowest lawyers I've ever met in my entire life. I gave and you took, both of you. Neither of you have done the right thing by Cherie Gilbert at all. You are both absolute scum of the earth. What kind of low-life scumbag divorce attorneys tells Cherie Gilbert to drive to Long Island for you to put documents in front of her to sign when she was under duress? But no, even after a sociopath like you dictates for her to drive for 3 hours from Ellenville to Long Island on the day of Mary Gilbert's memorial funeral, you had the balls to get clothes for her children, and you come to Ellenville and whisk Cherie and Stevie away from family and friends and loved ones so that you, Fran, could put legal documents under their nose and insist they sign them. They have asked you repeatedly what they signed, and you have never given them copies. You know that to have a client sign any document under duress is illegal. I don't know that it's illegal, but I do know that it's unethical, and that John Ray and Fran Cotra are very unethical. And Mary would be alive if John was not her lawyer, because John did not tell Mary when he approached her on December 15th, 2011, that he was in a criminal enterprise with Spoda and Burke. He didn't tell me that either when he had the meeting with me. He didn't tell me he was in a criminal enterprise. He likes to hide it. He likes to hurt people, and he likes to have people killed. He likes to watch the family members suffer as
What
people are killed.
what appears to me more, and he always brings this up, gangster talk, and being a lawyer as well, meant to be working for advocacy. What's so, you know what I mean? I just find it really peculiar that how this case has been handled, if you understand me.
People not do the work, because there's nothing you can do, because he's involved with Spoda. Spoda wasn't going to, press charges against John for stealing money. It's his baby girlfriend. So I said, you know that to have a client sign any document under duress is illegal. You have both broken the law, both of you, and you will be held according to the highest degree of answering to the judge. You are both the biggest scumbag attorneys I have ever met in my life. All you have done is exploit Shannon and the Gilbert family, but what is even better is you have egregiously broken the law. Says his counselor. You lied to me for years about the money that you pocketed, the $400 that I sent you for the startup fee for Shannon Gilbert Foundation. Now you have put legal documents for the girls to sign. So Fran Cotra could be co-administratrix in the estate of Shannon Gilbert. You are both loser, scumbag attorneys, and I look forward to prosecuting both of you and then calling a presser, the likes of which has not happened since Shannon came out of the marsh. Good day. Well, that hasn't happened because John's in a criminal enterprise. He's not an attorney. He doesn't have Shannon's back. He's covering up her murder for the cops. He is in bed with Spoda, which means he's in bed with Burke, and he's covering up everything for the cops in Suffolk County.
It just so happens that he appears when Shannon Gilbert's mother is like there, you know what I mean? He's popped up out the blue, helping the family. But there's more to this story. There's too many Suffolk County cops in this story, and I don't know if John Ray's coming from a good angle or a bad angle, but we're going to watch what he says now. Yeah, it is a shame more hasn't been done about the foundation and raising awareness for the foundation, because I've never heard of it. But yeah, that's what I've discovered today anyway.
My question is, thank you so much for the first
Cruise, and it'll be in the middle Atlantic Ocean. You'll know where I am. And he said, oh yes I will, you'll see. And all of a sudden, while she was out on that cruise, under her door comes an envelope, and it's for him saying, see, I told you so, words to that effect. Okay? So there are circumstances.
Talking about human going on a cruise ship, and he found his work colleague, and he put a note under the door saying, found you, you know. Is Rex Human guilty? Yes. Is Hackett guilty? Yes. Is Michael Pack guilty? Yes. Why aren't they in prison for conspiracy?
That need to be looked into, but they could.
Why hasn't he got someone to make sure that these things are studied and not coming just under civil case? Why didn't he get the feds involved himself?
So now you got a lot of hands in your hand. You two guys, then you two. How's that?
Just asking.
Okay. I wanted to know if I have two questions. The first one was the fact that the commissioners resigned.
I'm starting to wonder, are they causing chaos so we don't find these people? Is John Ray on the right side of the law? I don't know anymore. I really don't, because the paperwork tells me something else. Yeah.
Did that have to do with him getting information about this case and, pissing off the DA and cops and things like that? Or do you think going forward it's going to be a little bit more difficult to cooperate with Suffolk police, or do you not think so, or are you not sure?
I'm not sure. And I honestly, I had talked to Rodney before he resigned, and before he held the press conference with me, and I think honestly, he's a straight shooter, that guy, and he has his kids, he's got some wonderful children, 2 of them are cops, and the other one is a big superstar at Wake Forest in basketball. She's a senior, so she might go pro if he wants to be there. So, he's a good family guy, and he knows he had to get out one way or another, so he just had to time it correctly, and I think he did. He did it well. So I don't
I've had enough. Let's read on. This is the castle where Burke met Epstein. I don't know if somebody's passed away there or something like that. I've actually looked this place up. Gary Miller's a keeper of a castle. Remember we briefly. Miller's well connected with Long Island powerful. Okay? Many described him as blunt, tenacious and willing to take risks for grand vision. Mischievous Castle is one of the most cinematic emblem of this corrosive environment. The former son, Alfonso D'Amato, is a prominent gargoyle in the protecting this brand of transactional politics. It's not illegal to have friends, and Miller's has many, or to make political donations, and he has given at least 51 million over the years. But it's wrong to exploit policy loopholes to play in the grey spaces of what's forbidden while defanging the district attorneys and state judges. These people included disgraced and incarcerated former Suffolk County Chief James Burke, described by his sentencing judge as shaving corruption a system. Or is that paving? I don't know. There are former Nassau County District Attorney Kathleen Rice and her former top investigator Chuck Rubando, who determined there was nothing illegal about Miller's using his connections in Nassau Police Department that resulted in the arrest of a witness in the case that could have been hurt in the re-election hopes of the city executive of Ed Mangano. Sign up for the point. Go inside the New York politics, sign up by clicking sign up and agree. Then there are judges like Thomas Whelan, a fixture of Huntington Mansion. Made rulings benefiting Miller's business, and political bosses such as Edward Walsh, the former head of Suffolk's Conservative Party, also serving prison time. A castle mainstay who traded his minor party's endorsements for judgeships. Over and over, Newsday found that there were elected officials who made decisions that would wind up benefiting Miller's. On the February 24th of 14, Gary Miller's, the owner of the castle, was shot in the head by a masked man in a car parking lot. Miller's survived the assassination attempt, and many speculated the shooting was an extrajudicial extrajudicial police murder attempt for the Suffolk County Police Department and the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office by John Berg, or of Is in a Circle detectives. So he changed his, and see him getting shot. I think that was it, you know. Okay. So it's around that area he was shot. NY wedding hall owner shot in Long Island car park in Huntington Monday. He's been in surgery, been unconscious, alert in hospital. So he survived it. Police offer reward in developers shooting £5,000. Oh wow, it was a 4-door Jeep Grand Cherokee like fucking humans. They said was used by a man who shot Malice outside the castle. Malice owns a lavish 127-room mansion. Police say a masked man accosted Malice as he walked to his car around 2:30 p.m. I mean, it could be his brother.
Get to some breaking news now. The owner of the Oheka Castle on Long Island is shot in front of the landmark chateau. He was apparently in the driveway of that massive estate when someone came along and gunned him down. CBS 2's Jennifer McLogan is live at the castle in Huntington with more. Jennifer?
Good evening. The shots rang out in the parking lot of the elegant French-style chateau Oheka Castle here on Long Island's Gold Coast on bluffs above Long Island Sound. Police believe this robbery was targeted. CBS 2 has learned that a masked gunman was caught on surveillance video fleeing the scene. The suspect is expected to recover.
A thorough search of the grounds was conducted by our K-9 unit, our aviation unit, and the 2nd Precinct Patrol. Immediately saturated the neighborhood.
Prominent Long Islander 69-year-old Gary Melius was shot on the driveway of his estate, rushed to the hospital by family members. He is now in surgery.
Before going in, he was alert and conscious, and the investigation is in its preliminary stages.
This is a quiet, nice neighborhood. Nothing ever happens here. And when I heard this today, it's just a shock.
Melius and his
Nothing ever happens here, you kidding?
With their Labrador Auto.
Doesn't nothing but bloody have problems, Long Island. It's just hidden.
The chateau in the Gatsby era of the Roaring '20s. Between frequent wedding parties and charity events, Oheka Castle is known as a hangout of power brokers of all political persuasions, from Alphonse D'Amato and Peter King to Anthony Weiner and the Jonas Brothers. From his working-class roots, Melius made shrewd investments just before the real estate boom of the 1980s, allowing him to buy Oheka Castle. It was in much disrepair. He sold it to a Japanese businessman for $22 million, then bought it back again, regaining full ownership 10 years ago.
Optic running in for Maurice Dubois. He was shot by a mysterious gunman who is still on the loose. Today, powerful political benefactor Gary Melius is back at home at Oheka Castle, bandaged and bruised.
Melius released a privately recorded video video today. CBS 2's Jennifer McLogan reports from Long Island's Gold Coast.
They haven't done full.
A transparent patch with air holes over his left eye hit by shattered glass, stitches, purple bruising, and injuries from the redirected bullet grazing the side of the head, all visible as Ohika Castle owner Gary Melius showed his face to a camera for the first time since surviving the assassination attempt on his life.
My two young girls.
It just seems to me like a little bit of a warning shot. You know, like he must have he knows something.
Girls who took me to the hospital by themselves. I was pretty lucid all the time.
The major political donor and developer was shot as he got into his Mercedes-Benz in the Ohika Castle parking lot by a masked gunman whose weapon jammed.
Now, this man, James Bassett, killed himself when the discovery of the Gilgos were found, the gals. Riverhead Aquarium Bassett nursery owner James Bassett was found shot dead in his car in the parking lot in a Veterans Memorial Park. Suffolk County Police Department claimed his death was a suicide. I don't think it was. I reckon he went there to speak to someone that day who knew what happened in Gilgo and was shot. District Attorney Tom Spoto planned to frame James Bassett for the Gilgo murders. See, when you've got police officers like that, you can't trust them. Apparently he was a really nice family man. He constructed a 15 million Long Island aquarium, then known as Atlantis. Why would he kill himself? Bassett was co-owner of Long Island Aquarium Exhibit Centre in Riverhead. Long Island service scheduled for James Bassett. The American flag in front of Long Island Aquarium Exhibition Centre in Riverhead was lowered to half-mast Friday to honour James. Its co-owner and moving force behind its construction, whose body was found Wednesday in a car park. The aquarium officials said that their plans to hold a wake for Bassett on Maloney's funeral home. Southhold police say foul play was not suspected in the death, but declined comment further. Was there a gun found at the scene? In his professional life, Jim was known as a visionary. He had a passion for business and the ocean. In his private life, he cherished his family. We are grateful for the community's support at this time and the kindness of those who shared both your prayers and warm memories to Jim. We know many of you will mourn with us and ask to respect the privacy during this time of our grief. In addition, his daughter Bassett is survived by his wife Carol, his father James II, and son James Bassett, the daughter Dominique. Oh, freaking hell, it's complicated. The family asked to love flowers to the Memorial Breast Cancer Research for Bassett lived with his family and Massey took. Although his 37-acre estate had been put on the market a year ago. He was also influential for decades in Brookhaven and was behind the scenes of the influence of Brookhaven Republic Party. His family business, Bassett Nursery Co., was started by his father and grew from a 3-acre backyard business to become what the firm said was the largest horticultural distribution centre on the estate of Long Island. It turned into 35 land in Holtzville. This guy has got something to say on Bassett. Let's see here. So maybe they were into something and the bottom was about to drop. I still don't think Bassett has anything to do with LISK other than being convenient scapegoat for some people. Hey, blame it on the guy who offed himself. It's not like he can declare his innocence right now. Well, reading it all wrong. So maybe they were into something and the bottom was about to drop. Still, I don't think Bassett had anything to do with LISK. Blaming a dead guy is exactly what I predicted before it appeared on the blog boards. I was very pleased with myself by making this prediction, but something happened to change that. That being Spota exonerated him, and that changed my view. Doing a 180. What I think happened is the cops frustrated at what was going on, and the cops put out Bassett's name. I believe Spota had to get Bassett out of it like he did with Brewer, because both of them would lead back to Berg in some manner. Oh yeah. I believe Spota had to get Bassett out of it like he did with Brewer, because both of them would lead back to Berg in some manner. As far as I'm concerned, it tells me something is very wrong. Considering Spota is going to jail for covering up Berg, it should make everyone, what the hell is this? It's the wrong picture. Looks like a man who knows something though. Maybe not a caliber. Looks like a man who knows something. Bassett, the developer of the Long Island Aquarium Exhibition Centre, the local Republican Stoltwolds, was found dead in his car on Wednesday evening. Except Monday before. Foul play is not suspected, Southold Times Police Chief Martin Flatley said Thursday. Bassett, 48, was found in his car at 6 p.m. the Veterans Memorial Park, Pasonic Bay Boulevard so that's by the shooting place. Prominent developer Bassett was moving force and co-owner of the aquarium complex in East Main Street in Riverhead, and just recently built a Hay Place East Side End hotel on property. Many consider the aquarium to be primarily responsible for the revitalisation of the downtown Main Street. Yeah, that's what I find strange too. Shortly after, the Suffolk County DA arrested alleged Long Island Beach serial killer Rex Human. James Burke was also arrested on the 22nd of August of 2003 for allegedly soliciting a man to perform on him. And in undercover Suffolk County Police State Trooper of the Veterans Memorial parking lot. So he was found in the same parking lot, arrested 10 years after. So what's to say that Bassett wasn't murdered? He also sold a burlap to Human, because the burlap was from there. He's got a lot to answer for, this man. Former Suffolk County Police Chief arrested, allegedly soliciting sex from an undercover ranger. The Gilgo Beach murders inside the investigation that led to Rex Human's arrest. Okay. The murmurs were that Burke and Spota didn't want a federal agent nosing around their tiff for some reason, right? An escort later accused Burke of actually assaulting her inside a bathroom at an Oak Beach party in that castle, wasn't it? Something like that when we read the last one, okay? In 2016, Burke pleaded guilty to beating burglary suspect Christopher Loeb. Loeb was handcuffed inside Suffolk County Police Precinct. Loeb said Burke was enraged after Loeb broke into the chief's official's vehicle, taking toys and tapes that were found in Burke's black bag. Burke was sentenced to 46 months in federal prison. Okay. That would be 2 years, 5 years. Commission House said Tuesday that Burke actually solicitation happened at 10:15 inside the Veterans Memorial Park. Police Commissioner Rodney Harris, who was appointed by Steve Belloni, like Chief James Burke, spoke at the press conference related to Burke's arrest. One week of James Burke's arrest and public outing by Suffolk County Police Department, DA Tom Spota and his partner Christopher McPartland's appeal were denied. Okay, let's read this. The Federal Appeals Court on Friday rejected requests from former Suffolk County District Attorney Tom Spota and his top aide to overturn their 2019 convictions on charges of conspiracy, tampering and acting as accessory to the deprivation of prisoners' civil rights. Federal prosecutors said during their trial that Spota and Christopher, the former chief of the government's Corruptions Bureau, orchestrated the cover-up of the 2012 assault of prisoner Christopher by former Suffolk Police Chief James Burke. The jury found both men guilty on December 19th and sentenced them to 5 years each in prison, and that was in 2001. Attorneys for Spota and McPartland argued that their appeals had inappropriately admitted testimony from Suffolk County Police detectives who said they feared retaliation if they did not participate in the cover-up or cooperated with the federal investigators. Spota's attorney Alan Vinograd and McPartland's attorney Larry argued that the testimony was irrelevant and inflammatory, but the panel of judges for the US Second Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that although the testimony from 4 witnesses was needlessly cumulative and unfairly prejudicial and should have been excluded. The errors have been excluded and errors were inconsequentially given to other evidence presented at the trial. Because we concluded that the district court did not abuse its discretion in admitting the evidence of the officer's fear of retaliation, that any error in admitting the evidence relating to Beck was harmless, and that Sposer and Portland's other Bear 2012, where after he allegedly stole a duffel bag containing a gun, ammunition, toys and pornography from Beck's unmarried police car. Which was parked at James Beck's home. 3 Suffolk detectives, Bombay's Anthony Lasso and Michael Malone, kissed and slapped Loeb at the 4th precinct to get Loeb to confess. Beck then fiercely punched and kicked and kneed and screamed at Loeb, stopping only when the other officers intervened. Livingstone wrote, Beck resigned as chief instruction of justice and violating Loeb's civil rights in 2016. He was sentenced to 46 months for that. Remember James Sposer at the beginning? District Attorney Sposer and Police Chief Beck ran a blackmailing ring out of the criminal organisations. The Suffolk County District Attorney's Office and Suffolk County Police Departments. News Sposer, his protege, Suffolk County Chief James Beck, and their gang ran Suffolk's law enforcement like a criminal organisation. Sposer and Beck called the gang the Inner Circle and the administration. I wonder if the call was Shannon received, they holded the police and things like that because of him. Because of his mafia connections. Okay. Sposer and Beck called their gang the Inner Circle and the administration. But testimony with now retired cops shows that they operated like a mafia. Enemies, honest cops, political opponents or defence counsel were aggressively targeted for personal, financial and professional destruction. Family members of their enemies were also targeted. Sposer and Beck go back to the 1970s when Sposer was a young assistant in DA and Beck was a teenage criminal whom Sposer used to investigate a youth murder in Northport. Sposer mentored Beck for years. So you think about it. And as council and Suffolk police unions got him into the force, Ron Burke was investigated for having S in his police car with prostitutes, leaving his gun at the villain's house and lying to police investigators. Sposa was there to protect him. And he had his hands all over. They had their hands all over this case, you know what I mean? The DA Sposa cleared Alan Placker of any criminal liability during his investigation into child abuse as well. But when Sposa, he would be in prison, basically. District Ray Towney also part of the problem. District Attorney, brother-in-law is Detective Kenneth Bombace, who beat and handcuffed prisoner named Christopher and threatened to his mother, then conspired with the district attorney to fabricate evidence in court. In a separate corruption case in Suffolk, Tooney's brother-in-law, former Suffolk Police Kenneth Bombace, testified with immunity at the obstruction trial of the former district attorney of Thomas Sposa, a top aide of Christopher McParland, that he was one of the detectives along with ex-Suffolk Police Chief James Burke who beat a handcuffed prisoner in 2012. This is Detective Kenneth Bombace, the brother-in-law of Ray Tooney, who beat, so you've got to think about it. How long's this interview?
We had brought a principal to a large venue in Las Vegas for a UFC fight. Kind of all hell broke loose at this fight. Thousands and thousands of people. We had to get this person who was very close to the ring out of there very quickly. That's why planning is so very important.
But that's somebody I gotta have my eye on. What do you look for?
First thing, obviously, anyone who you do have a bolo for, be on the lookout. If you have information on someone, you're always scanning for them. If they show up at an event, that's a problem. You have to address immediately. Wherever you are, you should have a heightened sense of awareness with those people because they're erratic and you're not sure what might happen. Communication skills, handle the stress, think quick, and mitigate. Do the best you can to accommodate the principal. Most of this job is communications and understanding how to handle people, good judgment calls, so much more than firearms proficiency and mixed martial arts. Really, communications and good judgment is the most important weapons we have. We don't stay and fight. That's not what we do. So if someone pulls a gun, we get that principal in the vehicle and we're out of there as fast as possible. We don't care about the aftermath. Our job is to get that principal out there, not stay and have a firefight.
So my guest today is a bodyguard, and I'm not talking about Kevin Costner from the movie Bodyguard with Whitney Houston. I'm talking about real life bodyguard, a certified bodyguard. He runs a company. He's a CEO of Global Threat Solution, retired Army Intelligence Officer, United States Army Captain, and he's a bodyguard to celebrities, presidents, politicians, all walks of life. With that being said, Kenneth Bombace, thank you so much for being a guest on Valuetainment.
Thank you for having me on your show. I'm really looking forward to this.
So I'm curious. So, kids grow up, we say, I want to be a baseball, I want to be the next Mickey Mantle, I want to be the next Jeter, I want to be the next this, I want to be LeBron, Kobe, Jordan. Who wakes up and says, Dad, Mom, when I grow up, I want to be a bodyguard?
Well, to answer that question, I didn't wake up.
So many layers to this cake, isn't it? Suffolk County DA Ray Tooney's brother-in-law SCPD detective Kenneth Bombay's beat and handcuffed a prisoner named Christopher Loeb after Loeb called Chief Burke a paedophile because of what Christopher found in Burke's vehicle. According to the court documents, James Burke, then Chief of Police Suffolk County, derived pleasure from presiding over continued abuse of Loeb. At the police station, he told fellow officers with an air of wistfulness later on that it reminded him of his old days coming up with the force. He jokingly called the cops who aided him subduing Loeb as palace guards. Once one of these men allegedly told Loeb he was going to owe his mother during the beating, and Burke even threatened to murder Loeb with a hot shot, or that's like heroin or something, or a fatal overdose of heroin that might later be arranged to appear like suicide. He received immunity for that case, for that. Let's read this. Three Suffolk detectives, Kevin Bombay, Anthony Leto and Michael Malone, cursed and slapped Loeb in the 4th precinct to get Loeb to confess. Burke then fiercely punched He was honourably discharged from the military, the Marine Corps. Friggin' hell, wonder what he did for that reason. Honourable discharge, eh? Don't take me to the beginning, please. Burke began his career in Suffolk in 1986 after a year as a New York City cop. That's very unusual. He started as a patrolman in Amherville, which at the time was grabbing. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, for fuck's sake. Why isn't my computer charging? Sorry about this, my computer doesn't seem to be charging much at the minute. do want to come back to this. Suffolk District Attorney's Office and the Suffolk County Police Department conspired with Kevin Bombay's to falsify evidence in court of law. Okay, so they don't mind doing that. And the thing is a human, is evidence that evidence in independent hands. The Idaho student still at large, retired detective says answers lie in the phone records. Oh wow. In 2016, a lead detective of Suffolk County Police Department of Gilgo Beach Task Force, it's redacted, Long Island serial killer was last seen getting into. That lead detective lived 1 block from Amber Costello in Babylon. Redacted it. Detective Portella was a patrolman with Burke in Ametville at the 1st Precinct in the early 90s. Success with unsure ending. No. Even looks. No. In 1991, he was promoted as sergeant to oversee the officers in the 1st Precinct. In October 3rd of 93, Burke had reported the loss and theft of his first 380 caliber Beretta semi-automatic gun. On according to Suffolk County Police Department field, on October 93, supplementary report was filed reporting he located his firearm. The weapon was located in Sergeant Burke's residence in a secure location. Internal affair report was launched due to the allegations surfaced that Burke, known for using the streets as a star sky, I don't know what that is, it was reported he consumed drugs and failing to enter drugs as police property. Right. For what was seized from dealers and stuff like that. During this investigation, detectives learned that Burke was having a relationship with Loretta Rankin Black, known as a felon. She was a felon, so she prostitute or something. November 93, Reagan Backer, in a sworn statement, told investigators that Burke gave her his car keys while they were at dinner on Sunrise Highway in Babylon. She told him she needed to run home because she had left the house unlocked, so he gave her his car keys and waited at dinner for her. A sworn statement says Burke's gun, belt and uniform were in the back seat. James' gun was on the back seat. I took the gun out of the holster and brought it in the house. I put the gun, belt and his uniform in the truck. When she got home, she started doing drugs and did not return to dinner. Wow. He got the weapon back and he arrived to her house hours later. When James and his partner came to my house, I gave him back the gun. Told investigators that two broke off the relationship after the incident. He refused to share information with the FBI, Sani saying here, and said that he met with the fierce resistance from within the police departments when he initially advocated for the detective's removal, and noted that investigators under his successor solved the case in 18 months without Portella's involvement. Multiple former high-level enforcement officials supported Portella's was removed due to complaints from the FBI officials, but others disputed it, and none would speak on the record. Suffolk County Police Department and the FBI declined to comment. Portella was retired last year and declined to comment. Among other current and former elected officials and investigators on this affluent insular county of 1.5 million residents, which has one of the highest paid police forces in the nation. Initially, relief and elation at Human's arrest has given way to finger pointing and deflection as new. But investigating each of those possible suspects required the police department's homicide squad, including detective esteemed by his colleagues for encyclopedic knowledge of the case, dating back years. And this is Portella we're talking about. Portella was a Burke-era appointee to the case, having been put on the investigation in 2013. He worked the case out of the Gilgo room, packed with filing cabinets and boxes with the investigation. With the previous lead detective on the case retired in 2015, around when Sini became commissioner, Portella took over the lead role. Sini said that Portella were kept on alongside new detectives and the FBI because of his institutional knowledge, but led by Portella, the homicide detectives on the case clashed with Sini and Howard Master, a Yale-educated former federal prosecutor who Sani put in charge of the Gilgo Beach case in 2020. Master declined to comment. Former law enforcement officials aligned with Sini said that the homicide detectives failed to perform basic investigation tasks to reduce the pool of potential witnesses. One former official said that when prosecutors rushed to the homicide squad to produce long-requested dossiers on the residents in the area where they were focused, the detectives gave them a couple of recent printouts from the law enforcement search program. I was like, are you serious? That official said, what have you done? The detective didn't take kindly to being told how to investigate. Okay. On Tuesday, this is a post from Suffolk Police Department Precinct. On Tuesday of this week, we said a fond farewell to one of Suffolk's finest, Pat Portella, 39-year veteran of the NYPD, and here with the CPD, with almost 20 years alone in homicide section. We here in the 1st Precinct wish him well in the future. We took him off the case, and funny enough, new investigators come in and solved the case. Okay, so this is like, wow, was he the reason it was holding back? Was he not allowed to see certain evidence? I don't know. Human is first identified as a suspect in some of the killings in that March of 2022. Human is first identified as a suspect in some of the killings after he was linked to the type of car a witness to one disappearance had described seeing, and a cell phone and billing records linked him to some locations. Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney said after Human's arrest. Meanwhile, Murder Inc. would have solved the LISK case in 5 minutes, as alleged Long Island serial killer Rex Human's Chevy Avalanche sat parked outside within the 2 or 3 blocks where the cell phone pinged to the G-Man, and the cops had this information in 2011. David Scholl picked up the Chevy Avalanche out of a photo lineup in 2011 and 2012. This was the roommate of Amber, and showed him to Suffolk County police detectives. The G-Men and the cops also had the phone pings in Massapequa Park to alleged Long Island serial killer Rex Human's block. Come now, this is absurd. But for Scholl, any feelings of relief were over the arrest were soon eclipsed by the anger and confusion. Speaking out for the first time since the arrest, he said he had met with homicide detectives on multiple occasions during the initial years of the investigation. During one of their final meetings, roughly 2 years after the woman went missing, he said he picked the truck model out of a lineup of photographs provided by the detective. I gave them the exact description of the truck and the dude. He said, I mean, come on, why didn't they just use that? I mean, why didn't they? They knew that. I mean, they must have known it was human. Do you know what I mean? They must have known. They were just covering it. But if they were covering it up, why didn't they lose that evidence? But there's always the chance of this guy coming forward again, so they might as well just leave it there. That's how I have no idea, but I'm trying to think of ways that the mafia work. The question has vexed some law enforcement officials as well. 2 high-ranking officials who work closely on the case attended briefings between 2011 and 2013 said they never heard anything about witness statements describing the suspect and his vehicle. The law enforcement officials spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to disclose information about the investigation. If Rex Human is a Long Island serial killer, then these cops and G-men could have solved this case in less than 2 minutes with the Google Street Map at any time and the last decade and a half. Why are these people in charge of solving murders? Here where Murder Inc. gets suspicious that something suspicious is going on in Long Island serial killer case. Police claim the ruse on Rex Human was perpetuated on the night of September 1st. On the night of September 1st at 11 p.m, a burner cell phone connected to the sites of Massapequa Park and West Amherville. While contacting Amber Costello's cell phone, the burner phone texted Amber's cell phone at 12:05 on September 2nd while pinging in West Babylon's near Amber's home. I mean, they're also saying that they didn't pull out the ruse the the 1st of September. It must have been the day before or something like that, but Rex Human came back to Amber and picked her up while her roommates weren't there at the time. This means what the police are saying is wrong. Rex Human did not have the ruse pulled him on the night of September 1st, 2010, when LISK John Bernafone was at Amber's house. Costello and the client left from the residence while Amber Costello retained the money the client had brought to pay for her services. Based upon interviews, the client was described as large white male, approximately 6'4", 6'6", in his mid-40s with dark bushy hair and a big oval style, 1970s type glasses. The witness described him to the police as appearing like an ogre. Furthermore, the witness noticed a first-generation Chevy Avalanche parked in the driveway. According to the witness, following the ruse, this client said he was just a friend, telling her I'll give her a call, and walked out of the door. Thereafter, approximately 20 minutes past 1 in the morning on September 2nd, after the ruse was perpetrated, the Bernafone cell phone sent a text message to Costello's phone, which stated that was not nice thing to do. Get credit next time. Phone records show the Bernafone was located in Massapequa within 2 minutes of this text message being sent. The confidential source tells murdering Bear Brutsky and David Scala both say that the Suffolk County's DA bail document for Human is incorrect. We'll watch them in a minute. Suffolk County Police Department and the DA alleges that Rex Human is the John who texted Amber Costello on the 1st and 2nd of September in 2010. They also allege that Rex Human was at Amber Costello's house on the 1st, again to pick her up on the 2nd when she was last seen. Witnesses Amber's roommates Dave Scalia and Bear Brodsky say they remember encountering Rex during the scam, but it was not September 1st, the day before Amber disappeared. Dave Scalia identified the Chevy Avalanche driven by the John who they scammed for the SCPD detectives in 2012 during the photo lineup, but the Suffolk County Police Department appears to have covered up the clue that led any idiot directly to the killer. He reported Amber Human reported Amber as a scammer, which is odd because if he was killing her, that's a bit weird. A message board member known as Humiliatrix69 first raged on July 11th, 2010 about getting suckered by Costello and company hours earlier. Shortly after, a pal called Italy Ryder asked for her address. No one from this board needs to be involved. I have friends who can take care of this shit. Humiliatrix posted Costello's address, a description of her home and her number. 3 days later, Maureen chimed in, "A friend of ours told me today that you won't hear from those two girls anymore." So is it the actual agency that the girls are in, that Human is involved in, getting the girls, you know? If Rex Human is not the John with the burner phone, who was it at Amber's house one night before she disappeared? Then who was? I mean, these belts are on her as well. Okay, the WH. Suffolk County DA was planning to charge a cop with the initials WOH, who lives within blocks of Rex Human in Massapequa. Based on the cell phone ping data, Murdering used the phone book to identify an NYPD sergeant named William Hughes, who was friends with the fellow NYPD officer Michael Valver and lives 2 blocks from Rex Human. I wonder how tall he is. Wow, he's a satanic child trafficker. Wow. This is getting so fucked up. I don't know how to cope. Sergeant WH's friend and fellow NYP member Michael Valver murdered his own son and was accused by his surviving children of taking them to a child abuse ring where they were tortured. Valver's ex-wife claimed Suffolk County DA is covering this up, and Valver was receiving mysterious deposits of large sums of money like 30 grand.
When the pre-trial murder hearing went on pause, the mother of 8-year-old Thomas Valva, who died in a freezing garage, went into overdrive, upset that Angela Polina's defense attorney is trying to get her freed on bail before the trial begins.
She's 100% innocent.
Not so fast, said Thomas's mother, who had 3 sons with former New York City cop Michael Valva, who's also accused of murder with his former fiancée. Justina Zupko, the mom, posted stunning claims from her surviving boys on Facebook, claims that were made last summer. Quote, "My children, after 7 months being under my care, started to finally open up and made significant disclosures about their sexual abuse, child pornography, sexual exploitation, and trafficking."
Where were you when I begged you for help?
The mother was making claims about sex abuse ever since Michael Valva filed for divorce in late 2015 and later won full custody of the children. Thomas and his older brother were on the autism spectrum, and their teachers filed 20 child abuse complaints with the state hotline. Justina Zupko's new claims are stunning. She said the surviving children told the therapist Valva and Polina took Thomas and the oldest brother to several Long Island homes, quote, exposing the children to satanic rituals. When they would arrive, the boys were put into metal cage cells naked, she claimed. The mother said the boys were sexually abused with metal spikes and other objects. She said her oldest son stated that the boys could not walk after returning home. Zupko added, this abuse was on cameras that the adults referred to, and Michael and Angela were connected to those adults through the cameras. The mother said the older boys were taken to a funeral home one night with evil clowns where, quote, he and Thomas were chained inside cages that were beside statues of Satan and that their naked bodies were wrapped in white sticky tape material. Zupko has long made claims about questionable deposits into the father's bank account, large sums that seemed unusual on a cop's salary.
We're talking about the deposits ranging from $30,000 to $130,000.
Thomas's mother has not attended the pretrial hearing and it's believed she's with family overseas. We contacted the Suffolk County DA's office about her claims. A spokesperson, Sheila Kelly, told us the office could not comment during a criminal investigation and prosecution. The mother has sued the county for $200 million for allegedly failing to protect her sons. Corey Tampson.
I'm going to leave it there for today, and hopefully this will be the we're getting there close, baby, guys. We're getting close. I don't want you to not lose interest in this case. I don't want you to not keep an open mind. Let's think about it. Let's this isn't adding up. We've got a person who is a child trafficker who's friends with someone with the initials WH, and he's getting loads of deposits in his money bank. I mean, why? According to the court documents, the sadistic telephone calls made on August 5th, 2009 from Melissa Barthelony's phone by a man believed to be the Long Island serial killer were triangulated to the 245 West 36th Street in New York. Okay. That's my cat, by the way, making all that noise. I know. So that's where it was. 2 weeks after the August 5th, 2009 taunting call made to Melissa Barthelony's phone and believed to be the Long Island serial killer that was triangulated. Another call was made on the 19th of 2009 and it's from the same area, located next door. It's the Sasru Institute Outpatient Substance Abuse Treatment Centre run by Oak Beach resident Stephen Yohei. Jesus, these people just look serial killer all the way, don't they? Okay. Second call was made outside or next door to the Oak Beach residence of Stephen Yohei's outpatient rehab 2 weeks after the call. Leave it there for now. Have a good day, everyone. A brilliant start to the week. I love you all. And take care and keep an open mind.